Swayam Prabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, hello student. So, we are on module 9 biological transformation, where we are talking about composting. So, in the previous class I shared about type of composting, that was conventional composting process. Major type also I had explained, and 3 methods, the popular methods I had explained. The first one was the windrow method or pile method, that normally called as a agitated pile composting process or agitated windrow composting process. Second was aerated pile. Okay, that is where the aeration is a very important in the second one, and third was the in-vessel composting process. So, in this lecture we are going to talk about in-vessel composting, and also I will cover whether the centralized composting process is more beneficial or decentralized composting is more beneficial, and which is also when you talk about decentralized composting, this in-vessel composting process are very good for the decentralized composting system. So, this is what the in-vessel, the name itself is understandable. So, in-vessel means the composting process inside the vessel. Okay, the vessel could be vertical, vessel could be horizontal, could be possible, but is inside the vessel. And why this method has been come up, and the idea behind that, because if you talk about the disadvantages of conventional system like windrow or pile method, the disadvantage is that the space requirement is very large. It's again depend upon the local climatic conditions, because it's open to air. So, obviously it will affect more with the season, and also in the rainy season is very difficult to go for windrow or pile composting method in the especially into the centralized location, where large amount of waste is coming at only one location. So, that was the idea. If you entire the process will be in the vessel, so it will not have the much climatic issue will for the degradation process, and also in the rainy season it will not be much affected. Why? Because inside the vessel. But now here the measure is that if it is inside vessel, again you need to remember that the aeration is very important, because again and again I am saying that composting is a aerobic degradation process. So, obviously if it is in the vessel also, how best you can aerate the mass inside the vessel, that based on that there different types or different designs are available. Like if you see here, the bin or tumbler composting. So, here you can see that is the open area, this is for the aeration process. Like here also this is the opening, and even the other products also you will see that the openings are available for the aeration process. Like this is another one, this is the drum, okay, rotary drum process, and this is another box kind of composting process. You see here, why that air is getting inside the box, and also the this is for the leachate collection or excess water collection. So, likewise there are different vessels are available. Now, what are the configurations, that is the important for the in-vessel systems. So, first is the horizontal drum or vertical silo, that is also in the drum type or box kind of vessel, open tank. So, here this is a plug flow horizontal reactor. So, here material is entering from this particular area, and this is the composter, this is the where the entire degradation is possible. Okay. And this is the air distribution, and air is coming out also. Okay. That the gases like carbon dioxide will come up, that also the collection system is available into such kind of system. This is the vertical silo or vertical reactor. So, here the material is getting entered into the vessel. This is the composting area, and air is provided for the aerobic degradation process, and here you will get final product, that is compost. So, likewise this is the another one, the open horizontal rectangular tank. So, this is also similar, only here one conveyor is provided for feeding the material inside the reactor. So, likewise this is another vertical mix reactor. So, here the augers are provided, these are the augers, so that the mixing also is possible. Okay. So, that the entire waste will get degrade together. So, here is the entire schematic diagram of horizontal rotary drum composting process. So, here now you start from here. So, this is the drum. Okay. So, initially the organic matter will go for the composting one. After that, whatever the compost is produced, that with the magnetic separation, the metal part will get removed out. Again it will go for the aeration process, and again for maturation process, and finally again magnetic separator, and finally the product will go for the market. Okay. So, likewise this is the clear schematic diagram of in-vessel composting process. Now, this is another one like silo or tower reactor. So, now here you can see by photograph, like this will be a vertical tower, and from bottom the aeration will be available, and the raw material is fed from the top. So, the technique bottom unloading silo, each day an auger removed composting material from the bottom of the silo, and a mixture of raw material is loaded at the top. The aeration system blows air up from the base of the silo through the composting material. Okay. And the typical composting time for this method might be 14 days. Okay. You see that this is another benefit of the in-vessel composting process, where the degradation period is just 14 days or maximum 20 days, you will get the proper degradation process. Now, this is the silo, you can see, or vertical tower. So, there are number of silos. So, whatever is the energy also is producing, that also is possible to use for the biogas reactor. Okay. So, using the heat of an external compost heap for warming up the inside of the house, that is also possible. This is another kind of in-vessel drum composting system. So, this is another. So, there are number of private companies in the especially in the European countries, they started the design different way of in-vessel composting. And why I said that in the European countries, because there the climatic condition is not that good for the degradation process. Their temperature will be maximum 20-25 degrees centigrade. So, their degradation is not very fast. So, by putting the entire feed or entire material inside the vessel, they will be able to get the more thermophilic temperature by providing the more amount of air for the degradation process. Because of that, not only the composting is possible in such kind of area, but also the degradation time also will be very low, maybe 15 days or 20 days you will be able to produce good quality compost. So, in the rotary in vessel rotary drum composting process, provide agitation, aeration and mixing of the compost to produce a consistent uniform end product. So, this is one of the very important or major process in the in vessel composting process, that is rotary drum. So, in warm moist environment with the ample amount of oxygen and organic material available, aerobic microbes flourish and decompose the waste at a quicker space. So, this is another schematic diagram. So, this is the loading or feeding, and this is getting turned. Okay. So, speed is 2 rpm. So, maybe you need not to turn every time, only maybe 2 times in a day. 2 times in a day you will be required for turning of the rotary drum. This is another unit of rotary drum. So, a drum about 3.35 meter in diameter and 36.58 meter long has a daily capacity of approximately 50 tons with a residence period of, see here residence period is 3 days. This is what the major benefit. So, you see here the capacity is also 50 tons. Now, for 50 tons per day for windrow composting facility, you will be required huge amount of area for the degradation process, and even degradation time also is goes to minimum is 30 days and maximum goes to 90 days. But even 30 days also is very difficult to get proper degraded or proper compostable material. But here you see just for a residence time of 3 days, the 50 tons of organic matter is getting degraded. But I personally believe that in 3 days is very difficult to get the complete degradation. So, what could be possible that in 3 days the thermophilic condition will get over in 3 days, and after that once in the maturation period you need not to put it into the rotary drum. For maturation you can again come up with the windrow kind of facility, and there rather than waiting for 30 days 40 days, within 15 days of maturation period the product will be available for the as per the requirement of the market. So, in the drum the composting process start quickly and the highly degradable oxygen demanding material are decomposed. Further decomposition is accomplished through a second stage of composting, usually in windrow or aerated static pile. This is the second stage. So, first stage in rotary drum and second stage is windrow or aerated static pile degradation will be required. Air is supplied through a discharge and is incorporated into a material as it tumbled, okay, once it will turn. So, air moves as the opposite direction to the material. So, from the back side air is discharged into the reactor. So, this is the small reactor. So, this is a batch process. Batch process means only once in 15 days you can feed this reactor. So, you have to again wait for 15 days, and once that 150 or 200 kg of waste will get degraded in 15 days, after that you can again feed after 15 days, and that is why it is called as a batch reactor. Okay. But earlier reactor what I had shown that is a fed batch reactor. Fed batch means every day you can feed the material and every day the product will come out from the reactor. the drum can be open or partitioned. In open drum moves all the material through the continuously in the same sequence as it enters. The speed of the rotation of the drum and inclination of the axis of the rotation determine the residence time. And in some commercial system, the composting material spend less than 1 day in the drum. See, only less than 1 day the degradation could be possible, but is very difficult. But if you are thinking about kitchen waste, a highly degradable material, and not in 1 day, but 3 days, 4 days, the entire thermophilic degradation could be possible. So, here another this is the cross sectional view of the rotating bioreactor. So, here the explanation about rotating bioreactor means is a rotating reactor and this is a static reactor. Okay. So, here the aeration pots here available, this is the aeration pots. Okay. So, if you see the temperature in the both reactor, so now here you see that this is the temperature of rotating reactor and this is the static reactor. Okay. You see, just compare both the temperature. If you rotate, the temperature goes up to 65 to 70 degree temperature, but if you are not rotating, you will get maximum 45 degree centigrade. So, difficult to achieve the thermophilic degradation process. And this is the ambient temperature. Now, again you can see the here. So, the rotating bioreactor, this is the while after turning the temperature will reduce down, okay, for every turning, and here also the static reactor temperature will be lower down. But still the rotating reactor you will be able to achieve very easily thermophilic conditions. This is another system, that is a Redden composter, is a simple economic solution for the in-vessel composter range of this company coming from the UK. This is the Redden composter. This is another technology, that Ohio University in-vessel composter. So, the idea, the mechanism is same. What exactly is the mechanism? The entire material will be inside the vessel, and how best you will be able to feed the air, so that the thermophilic condition could be possible to achieve, and in the limited period how best we will be able to degrade the material. I am not saying that within 3 days you require to get the product, but at least for 7 days, 8 days or within 10 days, if you are getting the matured material, that will be highly beneficial in such reactor. So, there are number of private companies, they started their own technology by designing the different kind of reactor or majorly onto the rotary drum composter. So, the diameter has not been increased as much, that diameter started from 1 meter to 3 meter, 3.5 meter, because that particular reactor required to turn. So, diameter has not been increased, but length has been increased up to 35 meter, 40 meter. So, that the daily feed could be possible, and for entire reactor can be run for 60 days, 70 days continuously. Because of that, the length also has been increased. This is the another reactor, Novi camped design, is a base sizing, insulation, speed of the rotation, eliminating corrosion internally. So, this is the blade is available in this reactor, so that entire material will get mixed completely. So, this is the feeding. So, this is the feeding. This is the reactor is same reactor. Okay. this you can see. Now you people have understood now why this Rotterdam is highly beneficial. Again I will show some more slides onto the Rotterdam. I will take one case study onto that, but before that we will just compare with the centralized composting with decentralized composting. And I personally believe that I think this is the one of the very important issue, especially in the South Asian countries or India, because we started the centralized composting long back in 1970-75, but still we do not have proper composting facility in India, because the point is that the segregation was not possible, but under Swachh Bharat mission the segregation is possible now. But again the problem at the one particular location, if you are receiving 200 tons, 300 tons in a day, so how big area will be required, and you can't just believe onto the windrow system. You know that there are a lot of issue regarding the windrow system, and you also required to produce the good quality compost for the sustainability, because that that particular product has to be sellable into the market, otherwise the entire compost plant can't be sustainable. So need to be discussed that whether the decentralized composting could be possible, because the benefit of decentralized composting is not only that the scale is small. So obviously the operation maintenance will be not that high, and also your collection of that entire material will also do not required. So your entire the collection cost of 200 tons, 300 tons will not be required. But the problem in the decentralized composting, that local people should accept the such kind of facility to nearby their locations. So now here I am showing these photographs, like this is the centralized facility. Either we can go for aerated static pile or windrow facility, and if you go for decentralized one, we can go for in vessel. Either is a agitated bar, or is a horizontal reactor or vertical reactor could be possible, because size is small here. So now here I am comparing that the individual composter, community composter, and one particular bioreactor. So if you see that, does the bio waste leave the home? No. Yes and yes. Like specially, is the collection schedule is necessary? No, here we do not require, but for the large scale or centralized facility will be required schedule of collection, and even the you see the economic cost is very low compared to the centralized facility. Okay. So here the first case I am explaining that is a centralized composting facility. So I take a example of centralized composting plant at Boragaon dump site of the Guwahati. Is a northeast state of Assam. The Guwahati has this compost plant has been come up in 2007-2008 under the JNRM scheme, because there the PPP projects has been come up in JNRM scheme. So one of the private Hyderabad based company, the Ramki, along with the Guwahati Municipal Corporation, they come up with this 50 tons per day capacity plant. So the capacity is 50 tons per day capacity plant, okay, which I am going to explain that. And similar kind of facility you can find it in anywhere in the elsewhere in India. There are a number of cities has come up with this kind of mechanical composting facility. So this is the waste collection. They are collecting by stationary compactor vehicles. So these kind of waste, there is no segregation. So once they will collect the waste, they will store the material in the form of windrow or pile. So you can see few more photographs. So, this is the pile I am sharing. So, this is the pile, and you see here shade, because there are a lot of rain in northeast, almost 6 to 7 months you can see the rainfall. So, the shade is always required. So, this is another one, windrow. So, you can see this is how they are making the windrow, okay, or pile. So, once this waste will dry for 30 days, they will feed into the trommel. Trommel is nothing but a filter. So, they are feeding, that vehicle is feeding into first trommel. You can see this is the first trommel. The size of the trommel is starting 35 mm, first phase, and second phase is 16 mm. So, what is the meaning of this 35 mm and 16 mm? So, because there is no segregation. So, entire waste coming from the city area is available for the windrow composting. So, they will prepare the windrow, and they will wait for 30 days, 40 days for complete dry of the material. Dry of material means whatever is the organic or degradable material, obviously in 30 days, 40 days that will be degraded. So, now how best we can receive or we can collect those degraded material is very difficult now. So, will be required filters for that. So, here filter means trommels. So, it is not that directly we can go for 4 mm size filter, because it is very difficult to get filtered for directly from the 4 mm sieve. So, initially the entire material will be sieved from 35 mm sieve. Okay. So, the size more than 35 mm will come out, okay, and then it will go to the second unit, that is 16 mm. So, the material more larger than 16 mm will come out. Now, we will get, so this is the unit. So, this is the final product. This is material less than 16 mm. Now, the problem is that because after 30 days, 40 days also the degradation won't that good. So, these kind of material will have very high moisture, and if it is a more moisture, again it will be very difficult to filter out from the 4 mm sieve. So, they will go for drying method again. So, for drying they will put it the entire area, the compost will be putting for 15 to 20 days for allowing the to removal of moisture content, and then they will feed into the another trommel. So, now this is the dried material, again they are feeding into the another trommel, that is 4 mm trommel. So, the material is larger than 4 mm will come out, and this is the final material will come out. Here also this one more unit is provided, where they are passing the air with the final product. So, air passing means the lighter material will come out, and the larger material or thick material will be removed out there. So, this is specially this unit for the removal of sand particles or soil particles will get removed out, and finally, this will get compost. So, this is the final compost. Maybe you can see that there is a lot of inorganics, a lot of plastic, small metal parts, glass parts, because less than 4 mm could be anything, could be possible, and you know in India 30 to 40% is a inert material, street sweeping material, and there is a very high density material. Why? Because it contains soil, and that soil also will be mixed here, that is a inorganic material. So, this is the final compost. So, it is very poor quality organic residue. I think it is very difficult to say that particular material is in compost, but still is a marketable. So, I think these kind of units are available in many cities and similar kind of trommel composting facilities. So, these composting plants normally called as mechanical composting plant. Here why they are calling it a mechanical compost plant, because the mechanical units are available, that is a filter units, okay, that called as a trommel, and the cost of each trommel, as per my information, this cost goes to 40 lakhs, 50 lakhs rupees, is very costly units. So, this particular facility, that is only 50 tons per day capacity plants also required around 8 to 10 crore rupees. So, I did not include the cost of the space or land is not including into that, what facility, and will be required lot of energy to running those trommels, because continuously those trommels are running maybe 24 hour in a day, or at least the 18 hour in a day, that trommel has to be rotate so that the filter could be possible. So, this is another compost plant, is a Okhla compost plant. This is one of the oldest compost plant in India, this is available in Delhi. So, the trommel facility in Okhla, there will be 4 units are available. So, parallelly these 4 units are working together, and is also packaging for marketing purpose. This is Agra compost plant, this is a different kind of trommel. So, this is Ambala compost plant, these are the trommels, you can see, this is the trommels. This is Trichy compost plant, this is Chandigarh compost plant. So, this is the trommel. Okay. So, now you see here this kind of trommel facility, because is a capital cost is very high, and second the operation cost is also high, because it required lot of energy and also the manpower is required for that, and also we are not able to get good quality material out of that. Now, these questions will come up. See, there are two views of having such kind of compost plant. One thing, we want to reduce the amount of waste to reach to the disposal site. So, these kind of composting facilities are good. So, here the thought is that for the degradation of material or reduction of biological material into the disposal site. So, these kind of compost plant could be very useful. But now problem is that, see, if you are able to run such kind of treatment plant and whatever the product is come up, if it is not that good, then what is the benefit of that? Then there also you can say that why to work onto the good quality compost to production. See, now because it required lot of operation cost, maintenance cost is very high. So, from where these kind of operation and maintenance cost will come up, and how this kind of compost plant will be sustainable if you are not able to sell that final product. And if you are talking about selling of that final product, you required very proper composting facility, and that quality has to be looked upon then. So, if you talk about the decentralized composting facility, obviously we talked about rotary drum. So, is a batch mode also, and fed batch mode is also possible. So, once we segregate the material, we require the shading of the material, size is very important, and once we feed into the reactor, the marketable compost could be easily possible to achieve. So, this is the batch operation. Okay. Is one of the study has been explained that if you have the diameter of 0.9 meter, length 1.1 meter, is a manual rotation. So, what are the specific advantage could be possible? Short composting period, that is one of the benefit, 15 days or 20 days the degradation is possible. Temperature reaches up to 65 to 70 degree centigrade, means obviously is very good less space requirement, no odor problem, easy in operation, environmental friendly, no leaching. All these benefits or advantages are very good for the decentralized composting facilities, because we are talking about decentralized composting facility into the apartment area nearby the residence facility. So, obviously, these all benefits or these are advantages highly beneficial for such kind of treatment facilities. Only the limitation is a capital cost, because it is a metal material. So, the one capital cost will be high, and but power requirement also is required for the rotation, but in the batch mode you do not require power, but in the fed batch mode we require power, but that is also negligible. So, it is a pilot scale reactor. You can see this is the particular way we can turn the particular reactor. This is the inside view, this is the feeding. So, while feeding we can feed through the opening, and while turning you close the opening, turn. So, will be required only one turn in a day for the degradation, and after turning you can open the doors, so that the aeration could be possible. So, there are successful trials have been done in solid waste laboratory of IIT Guwahati by Waste Management Research Group, they are calling as an WMRG group. So, in IIT Guwahati the successful trial has been done on vegetable waste, water hyacinth, Hydrilla verticillata. These are the water weed, is very difficult to degrade, because it contain large quantity of lignin and hemicellulose. Sewage sludge, pulp and paper mill, this is also very high lignin consist material, and few more terrestrial weeds also has been successfully studied. So, you can see here temperature of 60 to 65 degree temperature for vegetable waste. This is the water hyacinth, temperature is achieved up to 60 degree temperature, and you see here the degradation period is only 20 days. In each trial the degradation period is only or maximum 20 days. Here Hydrilla verticillata, this is another kind of weed. So, in the pond you can see onto the top of water this water hyacinth, and under water you can find this kind of weed. There also you see the temperature reaches up to 70 degree centigrade. This is the sewage sludge, temperature can be reaches up to 55 degree centigrade. Pulp and paper mill, I think here the temperature has not reached, but still will be able to produce quality product from this rotary drum facility. This is the Fumdi, this is another kind of weed, normally we will find into the Manipur, the northeastern part of India, that is in the Loktak lake. There also the temperature is the maximum temperature 46-47 degree temperature for the degradation process. This is another weed, Micania micrantha, that is a terrestrial weed. There also the temperature you see here temperature graph, immediately the thermophilic condition achieved within 2 to 3 days, and finally within 20 days we will get the temperature like ambient temperature. So, this is another unit, that was a batch unit, and this is the fed batch unit, is also available in solid waste laboratory of IIT Guwahati. So, this is a inside view. So, these are the blades are provided for the proper mixing of material. So, this is the front view, this is the rear view, this is the feeding of material. So, waste within the drum, you see the water vapors while turning of the material. So, will be required only 2 turns in a day, one before feeding, one after feeding. So, this is a proper mixing of material once you feed. So, feeding, this is the inside, is the outlet after 7 days, and you will be required curing for 15 days, and after sieving we will get good quality compost. So, you see here temperature profile. So, this is the rotary drum. So, if you can separate this particular reactor in 3 zones, the inlet, middle and outlet zone, you see here temperature goes to 68 to 75 degree centigrade, and outlet also, outlet your temperature we are achieving 27-30 degree centigrade. So, it comes to the ambient temperature. So, you see here the temperature. So, now the ambient temperature is lower down. So, is around 10 degree temperature, still the reactor temperature is more than 60 degree temperature. So, is not affected by the local temperature, or when the ambient temperature is in the winter season, temperature is 10 degree, below 10 degree also in the reactor temperature is able to achieve 60 degree temperature, means in the winter season also it will be work. So, why the high rate decomposition? Now, this is the composting material in the reactor. So, once you turn, after first turn, this will be the view of the material. So, because some amount will come out from the reactor. So, these remaining material will act like as a inoculum. Inoculum is nothing but is consist of large amount of microbes. Okay. So, once you feed, after that you feed. So, this is the feeded material, new feeded material. Now, you will be required one more turn, so that the entire material will be stabilized. Now, that is the benefit of this turning. You see here TOC reduction, total nitrogen also you will see, this is the final one, is a more than 2.4% nitrogen. Carbon to nitrogen ratio is very good. The maturation index also is coming to 6 and 7, which understood that is a very good quality material. So, this is the temperature graph of traditional composting process like windrow and pile composting method. So, it will have the mesophilic phase, thermophilic phase and finally maturation. So, now growth for mesophilic, initial mesophilic phase, it required 7 to 15 days, active stabilization 10 to 25 days and maturation again 1 month to 3 months is required. So, finally, the total composting period required 45 to 190 days, but in rotary drum composting facility, now you see the completely change into the temperature graph. It do not have the classical mesophilic phase, directly waste under the thermophilic condition. So, which will have 4 to 5 days, cooling 2 to 3 days and maturation. So, final composting period 12 to 20 days. So, in the inside reactor the material will be for only 7 days. So, after 7 days material will be come out, but we required again maturation. The maturation could be possible by windrow or aerated static pile method, which number of private companies in European countries they studied, because for maturation windrow or static pile. Here it is possible that this maturation, if you can run the vermicomposting facility, so that the whatever the final quality will come up, that will be very good quality product could be possible to come up. So, the final conclusion of the time requirement for the 7 days in a rotary drum and 15 days into the maturation facility, could be windrow, pile or even vermicomposting also is possible for such kind of material. So, here the final conclusion of that, these kind of technologies are very good for the decentralized composting facility. It has large amount of benefits, advantages into the community level composting plants. So, again I am saying that we need to propose more kind of decentralized composting facilities, so that not only the degradation onto the source itself could be possible, but also the collection cost will be reduced, and because of that number of composting plants could be run in the particular city, and these kind of technologies like rotary drum composting is highly beneficial for the decentralized composting facility, and I specially believe onto the for the apartment area. So, these kind of units if you install into the apartment very easy for the operation also, and easy to produce good quality product out of that. So, thank you for today's lecture.